I'm Jess.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are
the Iggy Parents!
This episode is for all the new Iggy parents out there, or expecting puppy parents.
Getting an Iggy can be quite expensive.
I think that's true.
So we're here to help you prioritize what you need and maybe don't need right at the beginning at least. This is the Iggy Starter Kit.
On today's episode, we're going to organize everything you need or think you might need into categories.
We've got must-haves, both things to purchase as well as information to acquire.
Then in part 2, we'll discuss what you want but not necessarily need. So this is maybe the stuff that you can wait to buy and see if they're right for your specific pup. And maybe it's things that your pup's going to grow into and things that you'll figure out if you need them with a little time.
There's things that you don't need. These are things that we bought and realized after we didn't use or need or didn't work for Adelaide specifically.
Right. So those are the ones where we waited it out and it ended up not being useful for us. So
no, or it went in the trash chute.
Oops. Oh,
We'll explain.
Yep. That's a story. We'll give that in a bit. And the last category is wish we had. These are the things we wish we bought sooner.
Why was no one here on a podcast to tell us that we needed these things?
I know. I would have bought all the things.
Wait, we did buy all the things though.
Okay, yeah. But
we bought most of the things. We thought we bought all the things, but we hadn't.
Yeah. So before we get into the main topic with this big 4-category wish list, let's give everybody a little backstory of how we started shopping.
Okay, so it's June 2nd. We go and see this dog. She fits in the palm of our hand. And we decide that we fall in love with her. And then we immediately go to all the stores and buy all the things. Is that?
I mean, that happened in my dreams. But I don't have a budget for that.
No. Okay, right. We didn't go to all the stores and buy all the things, but we went to specific stores for specific items.
And there's some things you can buy from a store that are going to be really high quality and expensive. And then there's some things that you can maybe cut some corners, of course, not at the expense of your dog's safety and health. But there are some places where you can find things on a budget and still take really good care of your Iggy.
Okay. Give me an example.
So one of the first places I started shopping, and danger, I went shopping without Ryan. So
how dare you?
So I might have bought things that Ryan would tell me not to. It's always when you go shopping alone, right? It's like going to the grocery store and shopping when you're hungry, that like everything looks appetizing. So your cart's full of everything.
Right. And then you also, when you're married, you want to buy things and just to like surprise your partner with them? Or is that just me that I like to buy things?
Oh, I totally do that.
Okay.
But obviously we're biased. So
Right. Normally it comes in the form of snacks, but we also have a dog. So it comes in the form of dog toys as well.
Exactly. I'm like, babe, I bought this for you. Totally. I bought it for you. It's a gift for the dog. So one of the first places that I went shopping alone was HomeSense. So if you are living in Canada, you're probably very familiar with HomeSense. HomeSense and Winners are kind of like TJ Maxx and Marshalls in the States. And now in Canada, we have Marshalls as well.
Do?
So they're all the same thing. It's discount prices for sort of name brands. And it might be that it's something that's been out of style or just happens to be available at these stores. So one of the things that I first found, one of the best finds I have ever made, honestly, is a B1 breed shoulder bag. So this is a cute little quasi bed for the dog that I can carry over my shoulder, and it zips up at the top. So it's got a sort of a firm base, but it's soft and you can carry the dog with you. And I bought this even before Adelaide came home. So I saw this bed. It was, I think, the last one there. Yes, it was definitely the last one there. And it happened to even be on clearance. So It was only $30. And if you've been looking for these types of beds, I've seen some brands that go up to $400. And while honestly, it's one of the best purchases we've made because we can take Adelaide home in it. It's what we brought Adelaide home in right from the vet when we got Adelaide from our breeder on our very first trip in the car. But this is one of the best purchases we've ever made. It was only $30. We take it everywhere. And sadly, this bed is no longer, or shoulder bag is no longer available online or anywhere. I even contacted B1 Breed and I love their product. And I asked if they had anything similar. And it turns out that it's just an older style that is no longer available. So this is my plead. B1 Breed, please put this back on your website, because even though I'm sure straight from the website it's not going to be $30, it's probably closer to $100. But honestly, I would pay that because it was such a great quality bag. Adelaide's hopping up to the microphone right now just to give her 2 cents. Hi, sweetie. I went to HomeSense, found this amazing shoulder bag. I also happened to find some inexpensive but still good quality pajamas because at this point I didn't know if Adelaide was going to like clothes or not. So got these cute little pajamas, got a few toys, didn't want to go overboard, and got a couple of ceramic bowls for Adelaide for her food. Again, I knew that she would want something small. We prefer to use ceramic so that we can wash it in the dishwasher and feel good about its cleanliness. Didn't spend an arm and a leg. Found some really great initial products, and it's a great place to go if you're on a budget. Even if you're not on a budget, maybe you want to go so you can save up your money for those really expensive items. Another place that we went to save money is the dollar store. So there are some simple things that you can get at the dollar store that it's not going to be harmful for your dog. Of course, if you find that some of the products aren't as durable, you might end up having to buy multiple versions of the same item.
But we still have some things from the dollar store that we bought, I think.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've even got a toy that was a hand-me-down from my family's dog, Chloe, and it was from a dollar store.
Yeah, there's a couple, the duck one and the pig one.
Yeah, and she loves them. She's really not picky. It doesn't have to be an expensive, fancy toy for her to fall in love with it. I think we even picked up a couple puppy blankets at the dollar store as well. Again, inexpensive blankets. In the beginning, don't buy expensive bedding.
We did. That blanket right there. I'm looking at it. It's like that little brown one. That's from the dollar store.
The puppy blanket, yeah. But yeah, I would say, okay, Adelaide's leaving us. She's just not going to be in it. Bye, dog. So I've said HomeSense. Mm-hmm. I've said Dollarama. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 inexpensive places that we've been.
Yep. We also went to PetSmart, which has been great for us to shop at. And I will just mention as a little disclaimer that I was recently hired at PetSmart.
Woo!
That can be more in the update. But
returning to work post-COVID.
Yeah. So I just want to mention that, but I have not officially started working there yet. And I wanted to start working there because I liked the business so much and the things that we could get there. The high quality products that they sell.
Yeah. Well, PetSmart and Ren's Pets, I'm just going to kind of lump them in as the same. They're kind of our bigger stores here in the area, in Canada. I, of course, know that there's an American PetSmart, but is PetSmart all over the world or is it just North America?
A retail chain operating in the United States and Canada.
All right. So it's not worldwide. It's just North America. Or USA and Canada, at least.
Yeah.
So if you're from there, you're familiar with it. Big store, lots of different products. Mm-hmm. But they don't carry our food that we feed Adelaide.
True.
So
that's true.
We have been shopping also at independent small businesses here in our area. Mm-hmm. So shout out to the ones that we love. There's Timmy Doggy Outfitters.
They were the ones that we went to get food right when the shutdown first started here. We mentioned that in our quarantine episode.
Yeah, they had great service, great curbside pickup, and even delivery. Mm-hmm. Helmet's Pet Supply. So there's Pet Value, which is a bit of a chain as well in the area, but it's still pretty small.
Yeah,
and they do
their
have
stores
open
are
farm.
normally smaller.
Yeah, it feels like an independent kind of feel. It's kind of a mix.
Also,
a nice mix.
maybe an urban thing.
We went up north. We got it too.
That's true. They're just smaller stores.
Yeah, I don't know what to call them. It's a small business, but chain.
Mm-hmm.
Pet View.
Mm-hmm.
Spa Boutique, which sadly changed over and it's only now a grooming service. They used to have a store and it had so many wonderful things.
If you have seen any picture of her in the winter, basically, you've seen her wearing her vest, and we got it there. It's a Canada Pooch vest that she is. She doesn't love wearing it, but that's the thing that she walks in the best.
It's the closest thing that she could love to wear in the wintertime,
Yeah.
I'd say. And yeah, they have great brands there like Canada Pooch and Open Farm, Origin. Lots of really...
They did.
They did. That's so sad. Sorry, they did have a lot of great brands there, which is what drew us to shopping there.
Mm-hmm. And there's the dog bowl that has a bunch of the healthier dog food options. And they have some cool lines of toys, including the Fufu brand's squeaker toys.
Yeah.
Which is the first toy that she ever howled with.
Which is adorable. If you haven't seen her videos yet on Instagram, you have heard it in the intro.
It's true. Yes. Yeah. She may or may not have been howling with one of those toys, but that is the kind of toy that she first howled with.
If you hear any sounds, it's probably Adelaide walking around.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully there's no loud crash bang of her knocking over anything, but
we'll, of course, attend to that as we need. I'm sure there's other stores that we're forgetting about. Oh, Small Wonders. That one's on the Danforth here.
Yes, that's where we got her treat ball and then some of the chews that she really liked.
I think the harness as well. We bought her first small harness there.
Oh, I forgot that.
I remember that. Anywho, we've bought lots of different things from food to harnesses, leashes, collars to toys from an array of different stores.
Mm-hmm. And then not stores that we went to in that first wave of purchasing, but we have also been to Ren's Pets that you mentioned before, Etsy. Love Etsy because harnesses, collars, clothes. Italian Greyhounds need those things that are made specifically for Italian Greyhounds.
Breed specific.
Breed specific. Thank you. I was like, there's a term for that.
Yeah.
And Etsy's a wonderful place to go and find Italian Greyhound specific items.
Lots of people who are really dedicated to making things for this special breed.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had good luck at the Canadian Pet Expo.
Without further ado, let's get to the main topic.
So let's start with the must-haves.
Let's start with what the must-haves you have to purchase.
Okay.
So, like, items. Number 1, 4-foot-high pen. So we got Adelaide a 4-foot-high pen. We got it that tall because Italian Greyhounds can jump. So even if your Iggy puppy isn't going to be able to put their paws up even halfway, know that they're going to grow and they're going to grow strong and they're going to be able to jump really high.
The first time that we went to visit Shalane, our breeder, she had 2 litters. She had our litter and then another litter from a pup named Artie. And Artie wanted to come and check on her pups. So they had a baby gate set up. So she would jump up to try and look in. And it was probably a 2-foot-high pen. And she was clearing that easy.
Very easily.
So she was just trying to jump up and look. But if your pup is trying to jump and get somewhere, I would say 4 foot is the minimum for by the time they're full grown at least.
And Artie's not even that big.
It's true. Yeah, she's one of the smaller ones like Adelaide is. But if they're a bigger pup, they can probably...
We have heard of some Iggy puppies, even at the age of 5 months, being able to jump up that high. And potentially we have heard of dogs being able to climb.
Mm-hmm. So I would say if you're monitoring your dog and you notice that they're figuring out how to climb, maybe the 4 foot is not the best option, and a shorter one with some sort of cover over top, like putting a sheet over, or there are some purpose-built covers for pens, because I have not heard of this happening, but I can just imagine them climbing up all the way up 4 feet and falling down and breaking their leg. See our episode on breaking leg breaks.
Not fun.
Mm-mm. So that's for you to figure out, but the 4 foot pen has been great for us.
And we even put a crate in the 4-foot pen. So she had a place to sleep, and then she also had a place to pee. We'll get to that in a minute. Another hot tip, we got that crate to put in the pen as a hand-me-down. So if you know anyone that's recently had a puppy that maybe has grown out of their small puppy crate, a puppy crate for a big dog is probably your life-size crate for your Iggy.
Yep.
So
People have remarked about the shoulder bag that you were talking about, the fact that she still fits in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the shoulder bag, they said, was for dogs up to 20 pounds. And I've heard that Iggy's don't ever get more than 20 pounds.
Right.
But many dogs do.
I mean, lots of 20-pound dogs are proportioned way different than Iggy's. Think of a 20-pound Frenchie that's like tiny and compact.
Compact. Absolutely. There are lots of alternatives to a 4-foot pen if that's not the style you're going for. But this is just our list of must-haves for how we've been successful keeping Adelaide safe.
So this is the must-have if you want to follow in our footsteps.
Exactly. Number 2, an adjustable puppy collar or martingale collar or even harness if your pup is big enough.
So lots of them measure, well, for elite collar, you measure around the neck, and then lots of them measure kind of under the arms,
Chest.
around the chest where it would go.
She was under 4 pounds when she came to us.
Yeah.
And honestly, we had a puppy collar hand-me-down. And even at the tightest adjustable spot, it was still too big. Funny enough, we ended up making it smaller with a bobby pin. So get creative, but know that it's not a simple answer what kind of collar you're going to get your dog, especially when they're so young. Just because it's the first few weeks doesn't mean you have to spend a bunch of money on the perfect harness or the perfect collar. Maybe you're going to put your dog in the harness and it's not going to fit, or it never fits. Then they grow out of it too quick before they're ready to be in a harness, and you missed your window of time.
Even if you don't plan on taking your dog out until they have all of their vaccinations, which was for the first 8 weeks that we had her, I would say still try the collar or harness or something, so that after that long, they're not like, oh my God, what's this?
And
I hate it. Get
try
off
it
me.
indoors.
Yeah, that's the situation that I was picturing, or backyard or whatever.
Number 3 for must-haves in your Iggy Starter Kit.
Blankets, lots of blankets. Iggy's are prone to being cold.
Whether it's cold because it's winter or it's summer and it's hot, so then the humans need air conditioning.
Yes. Yeah, it's noticeable when she curls up. Like it's July right now, so when she curls up under a blanket and then stretches out, I know it's because we've forgotten to turn the AC on, and it's like
She's too hot.
it's like 3 or 4 degrees hotter than we actually want it to be.
But then we turn the air on and she runs for the blankets. Yeah. They don't have to be expensive because your dog might
Ruin them in some way.
in some way. Yeah, I wouldn't say rip apart necessarily, because Adelaide's been pretty good with that, even though she did have moments where she would rip other things apart. We'll get into that.
But she does dig into them, but it's to try and get under them. It's not to try and rip them apart.
Right. She's not trying to eat it.
Number 4, reusable pee pads.
So we discovered that there are reusable pee pads that you can wash in your laundry machine. So we have these reusable pee pads, and I think they might last for a couple days or maybe even just a day. After it's been used up, then you throw it in the wash, use bleach to wash it, and dry it for maybe only 20 minutes, and then it's ready to go. So we bought a pack of 2 to start with.
Yep.
But then, as we saw, depending on how much time your dog is spending at home, you might need more so that you can switch out, especially if you have accidents, if there's any, won't get into the details there, but if there's any reason that you might have to wash it more frequently than once a day, it's a good idea to have a few extras on hand.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough to have washer dryer in our apartment here. So if you take your laundry to the laundromat, you're probably definitely going to want more than 2, unless you want to go to the laundromat every day. I don't think that's part of your schedule, though.
Unless you work at the laundromat.
Right.
Hey, maybe you do.
Free washing sounds good.
Maybe you own your own laundromat. That sounds great. Also, I just wanted to say here that our setup involves a 4-foot high pen and these reusable pee pads and the blankets. So that's why we've got these right at the beginning, because they're super important. It makes up how we sort of house Adelaide. It's her own little room, and we crate trained her to be in this pen, and we sleep in our bed at night. She's got her bed. It's the blankets and pee pad for when she needs a potty break, and a 4-foot high pen because it's safest for her not to be able to jump out.
And it's the setup that we've ended up at. It's not necessarily where we started in the exact configuration. Or
this is the one that we settled on after, how many months? I can go back and look at the photos. I know that there's photos that we have different kinds of setups, but we're going to get into that later.
Yeah.
Number 5, travel crate or carrier to safely transport home and travel.
The laws in Ontario say that you can't drive with your dog on your lap. So you need to either restrain them or have a passenger that is responsible for the dog. And the best way that we have found is that we have our B1 breed shoulder bag that there are other designs of. It's not that this bag doesn't exist anywhere. Jess keeps that shoulder bag with her to kind of give Adelaide a place to go. And then if it's a time when either we're going to be on the highway and we don't want to leave anything up to chance, or if it's just me in the car, then I bring our little zip up travel crate that is a hand-me-down.
Yeah, another one from Chloe. It fits a dog up to 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm. That seems to be a trend.
Yeah. It I think would be classified as a soft crate, but I would say it's pretty well structured. So some of the soft crates that I've seen are a little flimsy, but this one has a lot of structure to it. And unfortunately, I don't believe it's still available just because I think it's potentially 10 years old. But there's lots of other crates out there like it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sherpa
I'm sure you
is
can.
the brand.
Yeah, Sherpa's one that we've seen that's great for airline travel as well. Mm-hmm. So, of course, maybe you're not traveling with your Iggy on an airplane anytime soon, but if you are, might as well get that travel crate that you're going to carry in the car, that you're going to carry with you on transit, that you're going to be able to use as a second home. Mm-hmm. So, actually, the first few nights that we had her home, we put the travel crate in her pen, and that was her crate. We didn't get the other hand-me-down yet. So our very first setup had the travel crate.
I had forgotten that.
And pee pads. Mm-hmm. Just a fun addition to make sure you've got options to keep your dog safe as you take them home from the breeder or adoption agency, wherever you happen to get your pup.
Number 6 is toys. It's good to get a chew toy, a tug toy, and a squeaky toy, or a plush toy, something like that. Don't overload them with toys right at the beginning. The biggest reason is, I don't know if this is true for all dogs, for Adelaide, the reason that we wouldn't want to do that is because the newer the toy, the better it is. So if she has a new toy, that kind of trumps everything. The way that we've tried to manufacture situations like that is that we have a bucket for the toys, and when a toy goes to the bottom of the bucket, then it doesn't come out for a long time. And when it comes out, like a month or two later,
it's so exciting. Woo! It is a noticeable difference. You can tell, at least with our girl, Adelaide. She really gets excited over this toy she hasn't seen in months, potentially.
Mm-hmm. You can also play into your dog's preferences, that if they want to get a tug toy and that's the thing that they're always going for and bringing with you, or if they only ever want to play by themselves, then there's also puzzle toys, and there's
treat balls,
squeak toys, and what, sorry?
Treat balls.
And treat balls. So
kind of like a
there's
puzzle
ways
toy
to allow your dog to play in the way that best suits them. And if you go off and buy 100 toys right when you get the dog, you don't know exactly what they're going to like, and then it might be a waste.
Yeah, it might be a waste, but also your dog might grow out of the toy. Some of these puppy toys that we found are now too small for Adelaide. So I know that we got the extra small puppy-sized Kong.
Yep.
And I feel like she didn't like it. And then by the time she had an interest in it, it was already too small. Mm-hmm. But if we had tried other toys first, maybe we would have seen she's just not into that. But again, it's all trial and error. So if there's a toy that you absolutely want to give to your dog and you want to try, go for it. But it's just a little way to save money and see if you can rotate between toys. And maybe when you find the toy that your dog really loves, get different versions of that toy.
Which we've done with her favorite kind of squeaker toy.
Oh, yes. As we said before, Adelaide howls that you hear in the intro of this podcast. And it started because of these squeaker toys that she has. So she puts them in her mouth. They're small enough that she can bite down sort of quickly. So it's squeak, 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 squeak. I think it's enjoyable for her to be able to squeak it so quickly. Whereas some of her bigger toys, maybe she'll get one squeak and that's it. And then she's got to work really hard at it because it's big.
Or it's too big around and it takes too much effort for her. The ones that have like kind of crinkle material around them and a squeaker inside. Yes, those are both squeak toys, but they're like just different enough that she enjoys the one more than the other.
Yeah.
Or for a different purpose, right? She takes those and squeaks them off by herself. And then the crinkle ones that are kind of plush, she comes in and wants to tug with those.
Yeah. Adelaide loves lots of toys.
It's true. She's a dog toy loving dog.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I can't even think what her favorite first toy was. I know that we were recommended by a friend to try the Kong Wubba, which is both a squeak and a tug, and it's pretty indestructible. We still have her first one. So if you're looking for something that they're teething and you're worried that they're going to destroy, I'd say the Wubba is really good, but she didn't take an interest in it until a few months, maybe like 6 months. So again, just because you buy a toy doesn't mean that your dog will never love it if they don't love it at first.
Number 7, healthy food and healthy treats.
So this is a lot of stuff here. This is a big item on the list.
Right. Yeah. This is obviously going to be its own episode or series of episodes at some point in the future.
Absolutely. Nutrition.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. And also what human foods can you feed your dog, etc. Should you feed dry food, raw food, freeze-dried raw? We're just here to recommend how we determined Adelaide's diet and how we determined which treats to use for training. First off, we settled on Open Farm as a company for Adelaide's food and treats. Do you want to talk a little bit about the company?
Open Farm has sustainable initiatives kind of across the board that they can show you exactly where your food has come from. It's been ethically sourced, and they are now even starting to roll out ways to recycle the package or even have reusable packages in some places.
Yeah, there's some reusable tins that look very interesting. We don't have them in our area yet, but looking forward to trying something like that. So Open Farm has a puppy kibble, which is initially what we wanted to try because I really only ever fed dogs that I've owned dry kibble. And maybe that's just a comfort thing. I don't have to worry that the food is gone bad or that the food has to be refrigerated and eaten by a certain point. There's a longer shelf life for kibble. I have heard that this is a myth, but in the past, I heard that eating kibble was good for the dog's dental health. But apparently that's not true. But in my brain, that's why I have sort of a comfort spot for kibble, just because I hear that it's a good option, especially when you're starting food for your dog. If you don't know how their stomach is going to handle a raw diet, kibble feels like a safe way to start. We found that she wasn't eating it very vigorously in the beginning. And to make it more exciting, we actually used a treat dispensing ball. And when she found that the kibble was a game to get out of the ball, she ate it more willingly. And I think the food started to grow on her. We attended a Brews and Chews event at Stacked Market.
Yeah, I forgot where it was that she first tried it.
Yeah, so we attended this event it's called Brews and Chews at Stacked Market, downtown Toronto here. And Open Farm had a sample booth. So they were giving samples of freeze-dried raw. I believe it was turkey freeze-dried raw. and bone broth. Small puppies also go on pure raw diets, not just freeze-dried. So she said, just make sure it's a small amount. And she said to us, oh, I might have put too much in there actually because she is so small. And so I said, okay, well, I'll take the bowl away from her so she doesn't finish the whole thing. And I thought to myself, she doesn't eat that much food. She's not going to eat it. I looked away for a second and Adelaide ate the whole bowl. It's the fastest I've ever seen her eat anything. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know if it was the bone broth. I didn't know if it was the freeze-dried, but that bowl was empty. She licked it clean.
And she still does that to this day when we give her freeze-dried raw.
Absolutely. So this kind of opened our eyes to other options. And I'm so glad that the brand that we use has so much to offer. They have freeze-dried raw, bone broth, stew. They have gently cooked, which is their version of raw. And then they have all of the dry kibbles. And there's lots of different flavors too. So finding a brand that gives you variety just in case your dog gets bored of the flavor, I think is really important as well. So again, this isn't just you must choose Open Farm, but that's the company that we've had experience with. We really enjoy their product. And we've heard really good things about other companies as well. But for now, Adelaide's loving the food. We do kibble. She's now on to adult food, which is very exciting. But we do kibble, and at least once a day, we top the food with freeze-dried raw.
The other benefit of freeze-dried raw is her coat. It's so soft.
It really gives her a silky coat.
It is a very noticeable difference
between when we just use the kibble and when we add the freeze-dried raw.
Yeah.
I would say as well that we haven't tried the bone broth as frequently.
Yeah, we just put water on it and that rehydrates it. They use the bone broth to add, I guess, more flavor.
More nutrients as well.
Oh, okay.
It's good for them. I would say another step for us to take would be to try the bone broth as well. There was a time where Adelaide was sick and she wasn't eating, and we used the bone broth and Adelaide ate again.
Yeah, we had a sample of it. Is that right? Or did we get it?
I think I went to the store to get it because I knew that she liked it from before.
Yeah.
So again, like listening to your dog's cues, you'll learn if your dog likes their food or not. We gave the puppy recipe a good try, but then with these enhancements, it was a no-brainer.
And for us as well, because we have the pee pads and she's at home, we don't mind if she is grazing her food and takes a few bites here and there and then goes to the washroom kind of whenever. But I know that a lot of people, when they have a more strict schedule themselves, they want to have their dog on a schedule, which includes knowing when they're going to the bathroom. So usually for her, she has breakfast and then goes to the bathroom right away. If you can use one of these toppers or enhancements to make them enjoy their food more, and then you can give it to them, they finish it, and you take the bowl away, then you can get them more on a schedule, and that can be a way to ease this puppy into your home.
Also, asking your breeder what kind of food your dog was eating previously as a puppy or adoption agency, or if you're having a dog that was rehomed, just asking what kind of food, what diet was this pup on before coming into my home, and making the adjustment as easy as possible, making an informed decision.
Speaking of the bathroom, number 8 is an enzymatic cleaner.
What a transition there, Ryan.
Success.
So smooth.
This is a cleaner for if they have accidents. Mostly it's for pee, but sometimes it's for poop.
We use it for the poop, but it's specifically for the pee.
Yeah, so it's a spray that breaks down the enzymes of the pee so that dogs don't smell that as an area that they should go pee in again.
That is something you'll notice if you go to pet stores. The dogs pee everywhere.
What do you mean? That's never happened to us.
Never. Adelaide's perfect. She would never mark her territory.
In the pet store, buy the chew toys that she wanted and wanted to claim as her own.
She would never.
No, never.
Be prepared when you go to pet store, whether or not your puppy is trained yet. They're probably going to pee if they smell another dog's pee.
It's why they have a cleanup station in almost every aisle of the big stores. So
Yep.
you should get that type of cleaner that they have at the stores for your home so that they don't find a corner that becomes their pee spot.
I will say, though, sometimes an accident can help you to find a spot where to put the pee pad.
Yeah.
So Adelaide gravitates towards corners, and we noticed that. So when she went sniffing in a corner, you grab her quick before she squats down, place her on the pee pad in her pen, and she's going to pee on the pee pad.
And when we were visiting my parents last week, we brought pee pads with us, obviously. So we had the pen set up, and then we had another one because my parents' house is quite long. So we wanted to make sure that she didn't get lost and knew where to go. And to put the second pee pad down, we followed her cues. We waited for where she went to sniff and then put it down there. And that was where she wanted to go. It was kind of off in the corner again, away from everyone.
I think it might have been a spot where as a young puppy she peed and had an accident.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I had no idea.
It's true.
Mom, don't listen to this part. She didn't, I swear.
I swear we cleaned it.
Yeah.
We did clean it.
Did we have the spray by then, though?
We used a different spray.
We used a different spray.
It wasn't the right spray.
And now, a full year later.
She found the same spot.
What?
So I covered it with a pee pad so she wouldn't do it again. And it worked. She peed on that spot. Again, listening to your dog's cues. And don't forget to get the cleaner. Next up, number 9, must-haves, a first aid kit. Full disclaimer, we do not have all the items on this, but they are must-haves. But honestly, we just haven't gotten up off our butts to buy it, and we really, really need it. In a first aid kit for pets, there's going to be a number of different things. There could be splint, gauze, wrap, Dermagel spray, saline spray. It's probably not going to have Benadryl, but put Benadryl in your pack because we recently went up north to the cottage and Adelaide experienced black fly bites for the first time, and they're not cute. I don't think she was too bothered by them, but if there was any swelling, we would have needed Benadryl on hand. We now have Benadryl, but again, it's just something for you to add to your first aid kit in case of any bug bites. Also, bees. I keep seeing this. It's summer. So many little Italian greyhounds on our Instagram are getting stung by wasps and bees. And it looks like even their whole face kind of swells up. So it's really scary. And if I were going anywhere in the great outdoors, I would absolutely want to have Benadryl on me from now on. Another item to add to the first aid kit would be a tick remover. Now, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we haven't experienced that. It's something to have.
Yeah, I have no experience with ticks or fleas at all. I hope it never happens.
Fingers crossed. I have had dogs that have had fleas before, but usually it's just medication to treat that. But ticks, it's a little metal thing to remove the ticks.
I've seen it. It's like where they keep the lighters at a convenience stores, where they keep the tick remover at the at the pet store. So it's like an impulse buy.
There you go. I mean, safety. Yeah. You gotta have it. First aid kit, typical things that might be in a human one, but then maybe add those other items as well. We also talked about that in our leg break episode. Handy to have something nearby. Gauze, bandages.
Oh, to set the leg.
Yeah. Just in case.
The one other thing that I will say that I'll add to this is perhaps cornstarch.
Yeah, add that.
Which we've used the one time that we cut her nail a little short. It started to bleed, and then you put the cornstarch on it to stop it, and then put her in the pen to make sure she doesn't walk around and get blood everywhere.
There is something specific to stop the bleeding. That's not just cornstarch from your kitchen collection, but we used cornstarch and it worked just fine.
It did. Number 10, nail trimmer. So there's 2 kinds that we have tried. I don't know if there's other kinds. I hadn't thought about that if there was other kinds, but there's two kinds that we have used: classic kind of scissor style, and then a Dremel. So we're lucky that Adelaide has all white or clear or pink. How do you describe those nails?
White?
Well, yeah, where we
Clear?
can anyway
Translucent?
we can see the quick, so we can see where it is that we need to cut. So if your dog has black nails, then it can be much more difficult. I honestly don't even know what the way to do it is.
Yeah,
But-
I wouldn't know the protocol when it's a black nail. If you can't see the quick, what do you do?
Oh, we just saw at, was it PetSmart?
Yep.
Yeah, a nail trimmer that had a quick
Detector.
detector.
I don't know how it does
It's kind
that.
of like a stud finder. I don't know if that works on light, that it would work on white nails, or if it's some sort of density checker and it
Yeah, I
might
have no
work
idea.
on black nails. I've never thought of that. Or I didn't think of that when we first saw it. It's like 3 days ago that we saw it for the first time.
I'm pretty sure we're going to have a whole episode about nail cutting.
Yeah,
So-
it's been a time for us.
It's been a journey. It's important to cut your dog's nails for their overall health. I know that if you let the nails grow too long, it can allow the quicks to grow longer with the nail, and then it's harder to keep them short. And if they remain long, it can have postural effects
Oh,
with the dog's alignment and how they walk.
that makes sense.
So it is really, really important. And I know that that was one of the first things that we really struggled with as dog parents, as Iggy parents for the first time. I say this, and we absolutely need to cut her nails right now.
Yeah.
It's an accountability thing. We really need to stay on top of it more. And I do believe we should have an episode about that. Those were our top 10 must-haves in a neat little bow. But I forgot one thing. Poop bags.
Oh,
So forgive me, there are 11 must-haves. And I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're preparing to bring home your Iggy for the first time, it's a big shopping spree.
and it's fun.
It is fun. One thing about the poop bags I'm just going to add, we buy the ones that are eco-friendly. There's the option if they're scented or not scented, and then you can dispose of them in the organics, which is nice. Also, there's fun dispensers, whether you get one for the poop bags that look like something else or it's just a dispenser. It's an option for fashion if you're looking for it.
Everything is an option for fashion when it comes to Iggy's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to take a brief break here just to tell you a little bit more about how to go shopping for all the things,
How to go shopping.
our shopping tips.
I like it.
Be back in a sec.
This is just Ryan here for a moment. I wanted to tell you about a page that I created on Adelaide's website. If you go to adelaidetheiggy.com/Iggy Starter Kit, you'll find all of the things that we've mentioned in this episode and more. Like we said at the beginning of this episode, we spent about a month going to all kinds of different stores to get the products for Adelaide to be ready to come home. But if you want one place to go to find all of the products to jumpstart your success at being an Iggy parent, that's the link that I'm going to suggest. You can find links for all of the things that we've mentioned for our American and Canadian friends. Once again, this is a link to our website at adelaidetheiggy.com/Iggy Starter Kit, or there will be a link in the show notes. All right, we can get back to the conversation now. Okay, so there's also information that you need to look up.
So that was the must-haves
Items.
to buy.
Yeah.
Items. These are the must-have things to research.
I will start by saying emergency vet. That's number one. Find the emergency vet in your area.
So that's the vet that's probably an animal hospital that's going to be open overnight. So, for example, our vet is not open past 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think they have a boarding service upstairs, but they're not.
Yeah. Regular
Functioning.
working hours, though, not 24 hours. And not on call. So you need to find your vet. That's number two. But an emergency vet may or may not be the same as the vet that you go to for day-to-day things.
Yeah, so just having the number at hand, know the name, and then it's there for you if you have an emergency at 3 a.m.
Do we know what the emergency vet is in our area?
Dundas.
Oh, okay.
Dundas West Animal Hospital.
Animal hospital. Yeah.
Anywho, number 2 is your local vet of choice.
I just said that.
So I just want to speak to that for a moment because choosing your local vet is an important decision. You want to choose a vet that you trust and potentially has experience with Italian Greyhounds. That would be something to look into. I have heard really good things about our vet, and it's a number of different vets that work there. I do believe that there is a history of their experience with Italian Greyhounds. Number 3, training, reading materials, and videos. So this was in our initial blog post and top 5 tips for raising an Iggy podcast episode. Research, reading materials, videos, anything that really speaks to you. So we've recommended Zach George and Training the Best Dog Ever and
Instagram, like search for dog training. There's Facebook groups of people who you can go to and ask for advice. And there's even, I'm going to say, even things like TikTok that have little tips and things to help.
How-tos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dog ear those pages in your favorite books or...
No, I reject that.
Come on, I get one pun, right?
Do you want to spend it on that?
Yes.
Okay,
thank you. The title of our podcast was almost a pun or a cute name, but...
That's a story for another day.
Yep. Before I was so rudely interrupted by the pun police over here.
Give myself a badge.
I was going to say that you need to dog ear those pages or bookmark your favorite videos so you can have them easily at hand.
At 3 a.m. when you need them.
Exactly. 3 a.m. The hours where you might need an emergency vet. You might need a YouTube video. Or, maybe you just need a good sleep. But good luck.
Number 4, you need to look for the puppy training / socialization schools in your area. We signed up Adelaide for puppy school even before she came home. We were reminded of that because she just finished her dog training at When Hounds Fly in Toronto. But before that, she did puppy socialization where it was the basic skills and getting to know how to greet dogs well. So there'd be 4 or 5 dogs in the class, and then the part of the class is learning how to socialize. And then
like recess.
Yeah. And then we also took her to BFF Playcare where she could go and socialize with dogs for full hour.
Yeah, an indoor setting, safe, lots of puppies there. I think up to 20. It was a big space.
For sure.
We had Adelaide signed up before she came home, and I believe it was only 2 days after she got home that we went to our first puppy socialization class.
That sounds right.
Number 5, research a dog walking or sitting service in your area. So, depending on your career, you may or may not be home with your Iggy a lot of the time. It's important to know what types of services are out there. A lot of the dog walking services, I'm going to say across the board, are available for the people who work 9 to 5. I was a previous dog walker myself, and I had to be available between 11 and 4. It's important just to see if you can find the right fit for you. Sometimes the dogs are walked individually, or they offer group walks, and that can be another chance for your dog to socialize. If your dog is good with other people, good with other dogs, then it's a really fun way for the dogs to get to meet every day. Kind of like daycare.
It can be an enriching experience for them rather than just a necessary.
Exactly. And I know someone in our building that has a Frenchie has said bringing her dog to the doggy daycare means that her dog comes home and is so happy and sleepy and ready for bed because it was such a great experience to be playing with dogs all day.
Number 6 is to have your breeder's contact information. So I'm going to say not every breeder is going to be as wonderful as ours has been.
We love you, Shalane.
But there are a few things that you do need to know that, like we talked about the food, that it's good to know what kind of food they had before. And if you didn't think to ask on a previous occasion, like the day that you got your dog because it was so exciting, then it's nice to be able to reach out to them again to find out. Or if you have some kind of problem and you want to find out if there's any genetic problems, if they have genetic testing, that they can look back in the history of this line of dogs. So you never know what kind of problem you're going to have. And if you can find your breeder's contact information, then I'm always going to suggest that.
A good breeder is going to want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give the dog away and then never want an update ever again, at least from what we've experienced. I'm adding one more, Ryan.
I saw.
Number 7, pet insurance. If you listen to our last episode about leg breaks, you'll know how important it is to research about pet insurance. So whether or not you find a pet insurance plan that works for you, I think it's really important to at least see what's out there, see what kind of insurance might work for your budget, and what would help you to feel safest with your new pup. Just to recap, these were the must-have items and information that you need before bringing home your Iggy for the first time. Tune in to part 2 to find out what things would be nice to have, what we didn't need, and things we wish we had. To be continued. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Iggy Parents. You can follow us on Instagram at The Iggy Parents.
Or find us on YouTube, search for The Iggy Parents, and you'll find us.
This podcast is available where all podcasts are found. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye from Ryan.
And Jeff.
And Adelaide.
The